Hey, gorgeous Gemini. Welcome to May 2021. The beginning of Gemini season and the beginning of a lot of other things as well. This month is potent, it's powerful, it's crisp, it's clear. There's a lot moving around in May, and I like this energy because the energy of May because I find it to be very curious, very playful, very exploratory, very willing to have us asking deep questions and also being willing to be open to what's possible next. So there's a lot of that energy, not least of all because energy starts to move into Gemini very quickly in May. Of course, it's Taurus season, the beginning of the month, which is an important time for you all because this is a time to incubate new ideas, to prepare. You may want to get a little extra rest, to do a little bit more internal, secretive reflecting and daydreaming before Gemini season starts. But Mercury goes into Gemini on the 3rd, Venus goes into Gemini on the 8th, and quickly after that, the sun will move over there as well. So you're going to start to notice that there's also a pickup in your natal energy, along with the fact that you still have the North Node in your sign for pretty much the rest of this year. So this is a really benefic time for you all. Now we also have the big shift of Jupiter. Jupiter is going to go over to Pisces for a few months before he retrogrades back and then goes into Aquarius again for the rest of 2021. So we also have an invocation into Jupiter and Pisces energy, which is very different. I'm going to be covering that in depth on Patreon if you're looking for some guidance and how to work with that this season coming up of Jupiter in Pisces. But this is activating a whole bunch of mutable energy. It's asking for some big questions. And we're also this month, your ruling sign of Mercury moves into your sign and is also preparing for a retrograde that will start on the 29th. And not only that, but it's also eclipse season, which means that we are going to have the first of two eclipses on the 29th or 26th, excuse me. It's a full moon and lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. So mutable energy is getting lit up. I love that. I love mutable energy. I have quite a bit of mutable energy in my chart. So I roll with this. I love it. And I think we all need it because it helps us move and morph, and you especially. Now, here's the message that came through with all of this in mind, that we are gearing up for a Mercury retrograde, that we are getting into eclipse season this month, that Jupiter is moving signs and having us start to work with Jupiter and Pisces, that we are doing these kind of big shift overs into very different energetic states. The message that came through for Geminis, which happy birthday to those May Geminis out there, by the way, is that it's a really simple message. It's about relaxing into the present moment and trusting that that's enough. And in doing that, the path will be revealed to you. So, you may be feeling really energized, really ready. It's a new solar year. If you happen to be a Gemini sun, it's a new beginning. You've got all this energy with you. Let's make it work. Let's make it be a big part of our lives. Let's do all of that. Maybe hungry for answers, clarity, movement, truth, all your problems solved. And that's great. I love that. But be sure that the easiest way to get those answers is to relax into the present moment. And this is not an easy practice. I've actually just, the last few days, y'all, I'm starting to shuffle here, but I just wanted to share this. I was starting to feel really frustrated because I have these kind of important practical things I have to get sorted out. The non-fun, non-playful things in life. And as much as I want to bring in the play to everything, including bureaucracy and problem solving, sometimes we don't get there. I know I don't always get there. And I was just wishing these problems would just be done and be solved and I could just be done with them in my life. But they're always going to show up. Human life is, it's a practice in being present with all of it, right? And I just had to remember that if I can't just embrace this present moment here and relax into it, what is all of this other stress for? So that message is just coming through, embracing yourself fully in this present moment, embracing who you are now, not who you think you need to be, not who you think you need to have transformed into in this last year in order for you to be worthy of the path ahead, but who just being relaxed. Oh, 2 cards came out. 7 of Cups in the Tower. All right. Gemini, we're not messing around, are we? And don't worry. This is good stuff. It's powerful though. It's powerful. It's a very honest month. So, cards wanted to come out. 8 of Cups. 10 of Pentacles. 8 of Pentacles. Okay. Quite the journey there, as you can see. We start off with a storm in the night, dreams, psychic visions, behind the scenes, hidden processing, and we end with answers. And, you know, I think about moving through Taurus season for you. And at the beginning of this month, too, Sun and Uranus are conjunct. And they meet up once a year. Right now it's in Taurus, in your 12th house, and the sign right before you is in a very hidden place. And there's truth that comes from working in those hidden places, from working in those spaces that we don't always see on our surface, right? That we don't always pay attention to even. And there's a lot of that energy in Taurus this month for you, especially at the beginning of the month. So when I see what I see here, especially with these first 2 cards, the Tower is sitting here next to the 7 of Cups. And the 7 of Cups is a complex energy. It has to do with what dreams we're tapping into, what visions and what storylines, what movies in our mind we tap into over and over and over again, and which chalice we keep picking up. Are we picking up the bitter, harsh, heavy, metallic drink that's slightly poisonous to us in our systems? Are we picking up the chalice that's full of life and belief and all of that? And what I'm seeing here with this Tower energy is that there has to be a cracking open. There has to be a willingness to go and drink from the chalice of the beauty and the warmth and the belief in something empowering and gorgeous. And we can have all the good energy in all the planets. Everything's coming into Gemini, and the North Node's in Gemini, and we're going to have some great eclipses that are really going to help us clear our minds and get us clear on where we're going. And Venus is there with you, and it's all good. It's all great. That's great. But if you don't want to drink from that chalice that is supportive of you, you won't access any of this joy that wants to come in. So the Tower for me is always a liberator. It liberates us from any storylines or visions of self or visions of worthiness that are starting to hurt us, starting to imprison us. And Tower for me almost always comes with, like, our internal family systems, basically, a dominant internal power inside of us that is telling us we have to stay in a shape, we have to stay in a certain storyline. And it's scary to step out of the bounds of whatever that internal system hierarchy is. What happens if we don't listen to the inner dictator? What happens when we don't listen to the inner worrier? When we don't let those be the leaders of our lives, what happens then? It's a little scary to ask that question. And it's a little scary too, because what I'm seeing here is these are revelations in yourself about things that you suddenly realize you want to change, that you want to see grow, you want to see blossom, you want to see shift. And once we open that, it's kind of like Pandora's box, really, because once we open ourselves to those honest truths inside of ourselves, those honest truths that our soul is bringing to the surface and agitating to the surface for us, then this 8 of Cups shows up, right? This is the leaving behind what can't work for us anymore. And, you know, when I think about the North Node in Gemini, it's so fun to have the North Node in your sign. I think it's such a great, fun transit. It's very helpful, but it's also demanding because it's not going to let you sit in things that don't work anymore. It's going to keep pulling at you to be okay to simplify, to follow that impulse, to follow that creative joy, to follow that path that feels right for you, and to leave behind what doesn't feel right. And it's a little bit relentless. I remember, I'm a Leo sun. When the North Node was in Leo not that long ago, just a handful of years ago, it was relentless. I could not hold on to things that weren't meant for me. And it was just 100% of the time, that was how it came out. And for me, when I see these three cards together, that's what I see. So if you are finding that you have something, a job, a relationship, a habit, lifestyle, an apartment, a location that you feel like you have to hold on to because it's a part of like who you are, and like you let go of it, there won't be anything after it. How could there be anything after it? You're just feeling scared to let go of it. You may be finding that in May, that those questions are getting louder and getting clearer, and you're not able to ignore them. And that's a good thing. And I always say, take this insight with a grain of salt. Obviously, you're going to want to follow your own timing. Don't just rip Band-Aids off because I told you to, right? Like, you're going to have to know if it's right for you to move ahead. You're going to have to know if it's right for you to leave something behind, and the right timing. It may take a few months if it's something big or it's something scary, or you don't feel quite ready to pull that trigger. You may be ready. You may be ready as you're sitting here. You're already like, yes, Sarah, I'm ready to go. Whatever your timing is, just know that May agitates up some of those questions, especially for Geminis. I feel like, with eclipse season being so personal to you, with Mercury being in its home sign, retrograding through, it's a time of review for you as like your essential self. Like, who do you want to be in this world? And as we're getting this energy activated in mutable signs, we're also just mutable signs in general are having kind of a tune-up time. Now, here's the thing. There's a reward for listening to your soul. And let me also mention, it doesn't always have to be catastrophic things that need to shift. I think when we see cards like the Tower and the Eight of Cups, and you have to leave things behind, we think it has to be the classic things that are scary to leave behind. And for some of you, that may be true. I found, though, that some of the things that are keeping us the most locked, the most pinched, the most in pain, the most stressed out and fearful are small things that we think are okay to slip into our lives, even if they hurt, even if they feel like huge self-betrayal to ourselves every time we do them. It can be simple lifestyle things. So don't always feel that you have to be looking at your huge hallmarks in life that are about external cultural accomplishments. It can also be about stuff that's going on in your personal world, in your home life, in your hidden. So just keep that in mind. But the reward, right, for being willing to ask these questions, for being willing to listen to our soul, to be willing to let go or revisit or realign, is this. 10 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles. When we're really listening to our soul's impulses and guidance system, we can just do the things we want to do. Like, we can just get into creating the things we want to create. Sitting down and painting that painting. Creating that vision board. Making those phone calls that are exciting. Doing those interviews. Reading the book we want to read. Going on those long walks. Whatever the vision is, I don't know. We can just start doing the things. And for me, what I see is like, you are being absolutely welcomed into making some new plans, building some new skill sets, having some really good grounded things come in to help you be in this physical body and be a part of this life. But it does require the honesty to not hold yourself in thrall, in prison and imprisonment to things that have to leave. So this month is very transitional for you. And, honestly, the first thing that came up even before the whole let yourself be in this moment, let yourself be really honest with this moment, and that will allow for problems to be solved and for doorways to open for you. The first thing that also came up, though, was strong rebirth energy. And I do feel, as the sun meets Gemini again, it's a really great time to just take a moment. And one last thing I want to say before we close out here. This eclipse season is going to be really personal to you. The first one, this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, is going to be about your relationships and relating. And you may be finding, at the end of this month with that eclipse energy around, this is a really great time too to recalibrate there as well. Doesn't necessarily mean, once again, that everything has to be blown apart. It can actually be really helpful for just getting clarity and getting closer to others. But we can talk about that more as we are in the midst of Gemini season and eclipse season for the June readings, which I'm really looking forward to. And of course, on Patreon, we are going to be covering all of those in depth, activating them, hanging out as a community, having our chats and conversations. So I would love to see you there if you're interested in getting some more support and supporting me too, so that I can keep making all of this free content for you all and keep showing up. So stick around, like, subscribe, hang out with me in all the different places, Instagram, everywhere. I'll leave all those in the description box. And I really hope to see you all in June and for the moon magics when we cover these crazy, wild, powerful moons that we are going to be having all of May. So I'm sending you my love, Geminis. Have a gorgeous beginning to Gemini season.